On the cusp of a major PBS documentary series set in a Washington, D.C. high school, we talked to the superintendent of Kansas City, Missouri schools.
Also, another of our difference makers, Dr. Sharon Lee in the Southwest Boulevard Family Healthcare Center.
Plus a local home with more big-time art than we've ever seen, and a reminder that Big KC is on the way.
Principal funding for the local show provided by Francis Family Foundation, Frederick and Louise Hartwig Family Fund, Kaufman Foundation, Healthcare Foundation of Greater Kansas City, Johnson County Community College, John and Effie Spees Memorial Trust, Bank of America trustee, Richard J. Stern Foundation for the Arts, Commerce Bank trustee, and KCPT members. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Randy Mays.
And I'm Nick Haynes. Welcome to our first local show of the spring.
You know, it's always fun to find a story close to home that you'd somehow managed to miss completely.
Like this next one about a local attorney and theater buff named John Topper Jones.
Topper and his wife Linda have been quietly amassing a world-class art collection, which they open up to various visitors from time to time, including us.
Randy and Don, the camera guy Mayberger, headed to Prairie Village to see the amazing art-filled home the couple has occupied since the 1960s.
Most wise people bring in somebody to install, but we change it so much, meaning we add. Just that we'd have to have somebody here practically daily. Every piece that's on a surface is Art Deco or Art Nouveau. Now, on the walls, it's a little less orderly. These are paintings by Henry Moore. Those are nice. This is Emily Davinsky. She does this photorealist stuff. Thomas Hart Benton here, of course. Yes. He was a teacher to Jackson Pollock. That's an Arshil Gorky. He was one of the great artists of the 20th century. Coming right back. These are Picasso's, with the exception of these two with Georges Braque. These are Goya's. This is Albrecht Bierstadt. This guy's from the Ashcan School. This Raphael Sawyer is a story behind it. In the movie Mr. and Mrs. Bridge, Blythe Danner commits suicide, and in the bedroom, this painting was hanging. I think we really vastly prefer contemporary, and that sort of shows, but there are some other styles.
But someone once said you looked like George Washington.
Well, that's right, actually. He did have. You're absolutely right about that.
Or so Conway Twitty.
No. Jacques Lipschitz, this is Man Ray, Rauschenberg, Miro, this is another Calder, Jasper Johns, Leonard Baskin. Here's another Rauschenberg. This is Dali. Salvador Dali's. This is too, you know, there's, and you know how he is a surrealist, and we put pennies in there for our grandchildren.
You know, my granddad never put pennies in a dolly for me.
I heard he was cheap. I heard that. That's a Tiffany. That is a Tiffany, believe it or not. This reminds me, this is a story that needs to be told. This is a Worrell that was among the 43 pieces that we were selling at auction, and it never made its estimate. And the reason it didn't, who knows the reason for sure, but one of the reasons is I took it upon myself to improve it. But I didn't know at the time that you can take ultraviolet light and you can tell when something has been put on there. This is Paul Dubois. That's Arlie Rieger. This is George Siegel. He has that piece outside the Nelson.
These are not Chihulis.
No.
Because a lot of people probably walk right up and start talking
yeah.
Chihuly to you.
Maybe I'll start saying they are. We've gone to the Tonys maybe for 35 straight years, and there's a party afterwards, and a lot of those are taken there.
So when you head off to see the Tonys and stuff, do you worry about these guys without you?
Yeah, they're lonely. We do have enough security that, and the truth of the matter is that it's hard to fence art. I don't worry about it too much. Maybe it's a frontal lobotomy or something about that. This is Lester Goldman, who taught for years at Kansas City Art Institute. You can't even see the piece. These two are Renoirs. These two are Cézanne. This is a Japanese lamp from about 1905, and those are peacock feathers. One time I was on the phone before we had cell phones and the like, and I look over, and you see all this lead work. It's now been reinforced. But literally before my eyes, it was melting. I actually am more passionate, so to speak, about lamps now than I am about art. I mean, I still love art, of course, but lamps are very attractive to me. A lot of people couldn't live in this house at all, and I fully understand that. But this room has intentionally been spared, even though this might be more art than most homes would have in a given room.
But a lot of people with a lot of art don't want people traipsing
I know
through their
that.
house.
And I don't blame, you know, I do understand that. I don't know that you'll show this, but here, I'll get down on my knees. We've had a lot of events here, a lot of parties. We're happy to, more or less happy to have people here all the time. This is a Frederick Remington. This is a Miro, of course. All of this art moves around. All of this art moves around.
When you say it moves around, you mean you move it
If I
around.
find something that I think looks better there, then you move that, and then it becomes, you know, musical chairs. So then where does that go? And then it's a big job. Oh, over here, this is Goya.
Linda lets you apparently run pretty wild on some of this, or was she?
Oh, yes. I mean, yes and no. I mean, she'd rather I didn't run wild. If I can find outdoor art, that pleases everyone, because she's perfectly happy to have outdoor art. And we do have a significant amount. Also, the Homes Association has decided that maybe that should stop at least in the front yard. We'll see. I mean, I hope that this slows down. And it's inevitable that it has to. Either that or build on.
Thanks again to Topper and Linda for our tour. Also to production crew members Emily Gertner and Ashley Holcroft, who, as you may have noticed, repeatedly got caught in the crossfire. Well, we move now from art to education. Next week on KCPT, you'll have the rare chance to take an intimate journey inside an American high school. With unprecedented access to students and teachers, 180 Days explores a public school in Washington, D.C., where only 7% of the students are deemed proficient in math, and the dropout rate is through the roof. Kansas City School Superintendent Steve Green is facing many of those same challenges, and in just a moment, we'll hear his reaction to this PBS series. But first, here's a sneak peek.
What happens to our students if nobody pays attention to them?
We were all horribly shocked when we saw that we had a 7% proficiency rate in math. It actually dropped by 50% from the year before, and it was an issue.
One of my friends, Desmond, that was like my brother. He took this guy's iPhone, and they shot him, and he died right there. And that's when I changed my life around.
People will judge you all day when they don't really even know who you is. It's like a whole rack of outsiders looking in, but they're looking in like the wrong way.
Education is the civil rights.
This is the civil rights issue.
The civil rights issue of our day.
We keep getting bombarded with slogans and ways from outside on how we should improve the inside. Come live here for a while, then tell us how to change it. Come in here, check it out.
180 Days, a year inside of an American high school, coming up this Monday night, starting at 8 on KCPT. Joining us now is the superintendent of the Kansas City, Missouri School District, Dr. Stephen Green. Thank you so much for being with us. You know, if filmmakers came to you and said, you know, we want to come to one of your high schools for a year, what would you tell them?
I'd invite them.
You would?
Yes. And I would welcome that opportunity for them to see the tremendous talent that we have among teachers, the successes that we have with students, and the challenges that we face in a realistic, upfront and candid recognition of the challenges that we face.
Now, while this show will be seen all across the PBS system on Monday night, we gave you a preview of this program so you could see it for yourself. What did you think?
And what most stood out for me was the struggle of Principal Minor as she desperately tried to work with her teachers and with her students and to lead them to save the lives of children. And that is something that has happened in urban school districts across the country. It's happening here in Kansas City.
One of the big themes that comes out of the whole series, and this is a series that occurs over 2 nights on public television, is the fact that there is a huge dropout in America. And as you'll see in the program, every 26 seconds, a high school student drops out in America.
First 26 seconds at school,
I'm scanned.
I get a full body scan.
I'm treated like a criminal, like a suspect.
So why bother?
Statistics from last year, Kansas City having the poorest graduation rate in the state, 57.2%. Dropout rate is a big issue for you.
Yes, it's critical.
What are you doing about it?
Well, we created an Office of Student Intervention, and with that office, we attack the issues of dropouts, attendance problems, and truancy. They tend to run together. And that Office of Student Intervention has been given the authority and the permission to explore whatever it takes almost to get students back. We've reclaimed students that had left the system. We also go out and visit. We make home visits. I've gone on home visits. Our board chair, Mr. Eric Leonard West, has gone on home visits with the team that goes out to make visits to homes after we have done the process of making phone calls and have had no success. Then we actually moved to going out and visiting homes.
Now, it used to be you'd send truancy officers around the district. They'd pick up a kid, they'd send them back to school, but then they'd be back home again. They wouldn't stay in school. So last year, you and the district went to the Kansas City, Missouri City Council and asked for a far stricter anti-truancy ordinance, and City Council complied.
Correct.
And there was a new ordinance that said there would be a $500 fine slapped on parents if they didn't keep their kids in school. What has been the impact on that as far as you're concerned?
Well, the impact has been that I think it's a wake-up call for many students and parents that we have that ordinance. It's something that we use as a last resort. We have a truancy court that we've set up, and it's like a courtroom in which parents have to come in and explain to a judge what are they doing to improve the students' attendance and to discourage truancy. And that intervention, we think, has helped a great deal. We've seen students who had 50% attendance rate jump to 80% attendance rate. Students who've had even less than that, 30% attendance rates jump up to 70, 80% attendance rate. So we think it's having the desired effect that we wanted.
Are some parents getting $500 fines?
No parent has gotten the $500. No? Close. But the goal was not to have to go there if we didn't have to.
Now, the last time you appeared on any of KCPT's programs, you were the interim superintendent. Today, you are the permanent superintendent. So for that, we say congratulations.
Thank you.
But instead of having champagne and caviar and lobster to celebrate that, you still are under all sorts of pressure because we read in the newspaper, we see on our TV screens that the Missouri legislature is again now trying to strip the Kansas City, Missouri School District and take over state control over this district again. It's already passed the Missouri Senate, a bill that would provide immediate state takeover. It passed unanimously. Even the Kansas City senators voted unanimously for that to happen. Are you just at this point in time saying this is going to be a fait accompli, or are you heading to Jefferson City, sort of, trying to get legislators to change their mind on this? What are you doing at this point?
Well, first of all, I have to recognize politics at play and how that impacts and may influence the educational process. And what I have asked my team to do is make sure that we not get distracted or discouraged or derailed by some of the political back and forth that will go on as a bill makes its way through the various channels and et cetera. But I've been to Jeff City to testify, and we'll probably go again sometime in the near future. But my appeal is not to kill any kind of effort to address the issue of a school district that's unaccredited and not improving. My appeal has been, if a district is improving, is stabilized and made improvement, there ought to be a clause or some kind of provision that would allow that school district to continue uninterrupted. We're making progress. We are financially stable. We had a perfect audit. I don't know if many districts around this area could say they had 0 findings on their audit. And the fact that we're financially stable allows us to divert resources to the students for the Office of Intervention, those kinds of things, those kind of unique programs that will meet the needs of our students.
Well, when people will see the statistic then that says you have the poorest graduation rate in the state at 57.2%, and you say you're making progress, give us a couple of examples that we can really latch on to and say, oh, that's
Right.
progress I understand.
Right, it'll move to 70%, 72, 73% if we documented it right now. So it's well beyond what the
graduation rate.
Graduation rate, right.
So that was from January of 2012, was 57.2%. You now
we'll move to about 70%, but that's still far below the expectation. So even though we'll make dramatic improvement, we're climbing out of a pretty deep hole. And so in essence, progress is progress, but not making a certain standard is not making a certain standard. So we're kind of in that space right now where we're making significant gains. Students are showing better literacy scores, students are showing better math competency scores, but at the same time, we still have a long way to go.
Dr. Stephen Green, thank you so much for being with us on The Local Show.
Thank you.
By the way, you can catch the first installment of 180 Days, a year inside of an American high school, this Monday night starting at 8 on KCPT. Then next Tuesday at 7, I want to draw your attention to a very special Tavis Smiley Reports. Education Under Arrest, about breaking the school to prison pipeline. And some of that program actually takes place right here in Missouri.
Locking an 11-year-old up for any length of time doesn't make sense.
I can't stand it here. I can't wait to go home. I'm never going to do nothing ever again. I swear to God, I'm not.
Tavis Smiley Reports, Education Under Arrest, Tuesday at 7 on KCPT. For more than 20 years, Dr. Sharon Lee has been providing medical care to the region's poor and uninsured at her non-profit Safety Net Health Clinic on Southwest Boulevard. Among the earliest were HIV/AIDS patients when few in Kansas City knew anything about the disease.
Today it's diabetes, high blood pressure, and other health issues, all treated there regardless of a patient's ability to pay.
Remarkably, Dr. Lee pays herself the same salary as the clinic's janitor and receptionist. That's right, an MD who makes $14 an hour. Sean Holmes produced our story.
Well, I think one of the problems in our sort of modern world is that we've gotten so far away from the village. In a village, when someone's in trouble, everybody knows it. You're more prone to want to help them because you see them every day and they're somebody that you know. And one of the problems in our modern world is that it's very easy to be removed from people in need. It's easy not to see what's going on. So one of the reasons that I wanted to go to medical school was so that I would have some tools to use to help people. And when you then look around and see who it is that is in need of that kind of help, you know, I thought about going to Appalachia. I thought about becoming a missionary and going overseas. But I really looked around, and there's incredible healthcare needs and medical needs in our community here in Kansas City.
I'm really proud of my association with Dr. Lee. What attracted me to the place was provide healthcare to people who otherwise would not have access to our healthcare system. Everyone who works here, at the time it was $12 an hour, but now it's 14. Everyone who works here makes the same wage. That was very attractive to me. Doesn't matter what you do. Everybody who works here makes $14 an hour. We're making Kansas City a better and stronger place. We're making Kansas City a more compassionate place. We're caring for people who really need someone to care for them.
Our community of Kansas City, Kansas was considered a medically underserved area, meaning that despite the fact that we had the med center, the Mecca at the top of the hill with all of those doctors, there were not enough primary care doctors for the population. So one of the things that Family Health Care tries to do is to look at what are the health issues in our community and how might we address those. An example is that a few years ago we decided that we really needed to do something to help people have a place, an opportunity to exercise, because we found that a lot of the patients that we serve, because of the poverty that they experience and because of the environment that they live in, they have a lot of difficulty getting exercise. It's not safe for them to go walk around their block, for example. And so we started thinking about how we could address that. What could we do to make a difference? And out of that has developed our Family Healthcare Fitness Center. I thought maybe we should hire like an exercise instructor or somebody to kind of come help people learn how to exercise. And one of our staff members, who was a medical assistant at the time, said, I want to do that. And I was actually a little leery about it. I was a little bit cautious because she was very overweight and I wasn't clear that she would be able to handle it. But I said, okay, sure. And she has done incredible work with us. Her name's Priscilla Allen. She lost 80 pounds and she is the fitness queen.
I guess it was that superhero inside of me that said, do it, do it. I don't know. Dr. Lee gave me a chance when I did my externship as a medical assistant. She gave me a chance to do this. Squeeze my hand. There you go. All right, your form's getting ugly. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done. I have an amazing family here. I really do. We're really supported here, and I really wish the community knew more about us, because the money we spend actually goes to something. There's no middleman. There's no overhead. It's just us. This Big Changes program, I have one wonderful person that sends us $50 every single month. And that's what our budget is. We're taking care of this community, doing the best we can with what little money we have. We're knocking it out of the park. 3 more. Squeeze into your body. Exhale up. Come on.
It's not just what we do, but how we do it that's important. And I think how we do it is as a family. We approach where we're going and what kinds of things we take on as a family.
So if you touch your arms, they should be hot. All that blood's like...
Healthcare is a broader thing than just medicine. Is health the absence of illness, or is it something more than just the absence of illness? And I think it is. I think it's a well-being that is not just not being sick, but being well. It's important for patients to know that the people in their doctor's office care about them as a person. It's hard to be sick and feel unwelcome. And I think that it's important for us to establish a welcoming place for our patients, and I think the whole staff works at doing that. The folks that work here are absolutely incredible. They are salt of the earth people that are really committed to helping others, and they come here and they energize me. They've got dance music on today. The work that's being done here is the really important piece of it. It's an incredible group of people doing some really incredible work. This is one of my favorite places. It's just nice to stand in the sunshine. Kind of like a cat.
To learn more about the Southwest Boulevard Family Healthcare Clinic, go to swbnc.org. fhc.org. Our KCPT Difference Maker segment has been made possible by support from the insurance firm of Haas and Wilkerson. We're just about out of time this week on The Local Show, but we'll leave you with a reminder that big things are on the way, specifically to Hangar Number 9 at the downtown airport, where Big KC will bring entrepreneurs aplenty together March 26th through 28th.
It's the successor to Silicon Prairie News' Big Omaha and Big Des Moines events, and will feature speakers like Dan Hesse from Sprint.
We think that the importance of Big Kansas City lies in bringing together all of these entrepreneurs and the investors and these creative folks that we've met and that we know exist in and around Kansas City and the region into one place for 2 days of high energy and exciting talks and interactions and mingling and all the things that come out of events like what we've done in the past with Big Omaha and other things.
Big Omaha for me was inspirational. It was the moment when I came back and told my wife, I've got to do this. I've got to be a part of this community. I've got to be a part of this movement of people that are trying to build things.
Look for more coverage at our website, kcpt.org, and we'll see you here next time on The Local Show.
Principal funding for The Local Show provided by Francis Family Foundation, Frederick and Louise Hartwig Family Fund, Kaufman Foundation, Healthcare Foundation of Greater Kansas City, Johnson County Community College, John and Effie Spees Memorial Trust, Bank of America trustee, Richard J. Stern Foundation for the Arts, Commerce Bank trustee, and KCPT members. Thank you.